In the previous example, we had looked at how we can write out objects, the properties of objects within JSON. So we had looked at that you can kind of write them out similar to an array format, but they don't quite work the same way as arrays do. And that brings up the question about, well, what about arrays? What do you do with them? Can you bring them into objects? And the answer is yes, of course you can bring them into objects, and it's another way to kind of get a more dynamic JSON output where you can actually use, so I've set up a couple of arrays here where I've got car colors and car doors. So I've got 2, 4, 5, I believe 5 is probably with the hatchback, although I'm not 100% sure which cars have 5 doors. But here I've got some standard colors, red, blue, and green for the car colors. And what I'm doing over here is I'm setting up another brand new object, calling it car complete. And I've got car option number 1, because these are going to be car options. I've got car colors, and then car option number 2 is the amount of doors that you want on your car. And within the console, we're going to output car complete. So that's going to return back this object. And then over here, we actually want it to isolate one of the items within the array. So we want to bring out blue. And the way to do that is to do the object, do the property or the other object, and then this object contains the array. So it works in the same format as arrays always do, where you can go call whatever element you want from the array. So this starts at 0, 1, 2, and the same here. We've got 3 elements, but they always start at 0. Arrays in JavaScript always start 0 and then 1, 2. So calling number 1 is actually calling the second item within that array. So when we go out to the console, we see that when we refresh it, we do have both of these arrays. We've got car option number 1, car option number 2. They contain arrays, and we see that array information, which is just translated right into that object, although it is indicated that it is an array, and we see red, blue, green. And then car option number 2, we do see our options there again, 2, 3, 2, 4, and 5. So these are the values that are available within the array. And lastly, from line number 17, we're calling out car option, the object, car option number 1, and what we're doing is we're looking for the second item within that array, car option 1's array, and that's returning out blue. And it is important to note that if you are setting up your JSON, and let's say you do call it by the same name, so what do you think is going to happen in this case? What is going to be car complete's output? We've changed car option number 1, and then we've made a mistake here, and we've called the second property as well car option number 1. So let you think about that for a second, and what is going to be the output of car complete. Actually, we're going to change it to, so we're going to leave it at that. And so what do you think the output of car complete is going to be now that we've changed? We've had the same name. We've got 2 properties with the same name, but all that they're containing different data. So when we refresh this, we see, just before I refresh it, just note that within the object, by default, I have car option number 1, an array containing 3 items, car option number 2, an array containing 3 items. So when I refresh it, we're only defining car option number 1, and when we define it, we see that car option number 1 contains 1 array with 3 items, and the items that are available within this array are actually from the second array. So that first property has been overwritten by the second property because we've declared it using the same name. So sometimes it is a mistake that happens when you've got very large objects with a lot of properties, and you might name them the same thing. So sometimes it is important to kind of look at how your naming scheme works and how you are doing the naming for the properties within the object, so you're not inadvertently overnaming it or calling it the same thing.